Hey, man.
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Fine. What's going on?
Not much. We got about 2 minutes before we go on. We're on stream, but we're not up on TV yet. So,
Okay.
yep, another day in paradise. How are you, man?
Dude, I'm just running all over the place. Driving a Fountain to Iowa, starting on probably Monday or Tuesday.
Good
Be back
Lord,
just in time for Good Friday.
my God!
I know I'm dying over here. I mean, it's like we just don't have enough people, though. We just don't.
It still ain't gotten any better, has it?
No, I mean it's because you got to find people that are willing to travel too, and
Tough,
yeah.
no doubt about it. We'll be ready to start, everybody, here in about 2 minutes.
Y'all do anything today?
I'm going to cover a day. So,
Oh, you are? Okay. Did you
Yeah.
get credentialed?
Yep. I think we're pretty good on that now, moving forward.
Good.
I think we got over the hump finally. Only took 20 years.
Yeah, I know.
Now y'all passed the test, so y'all can come on down now.
They just need to make sure you're going to make it 20 years and we'll give you one.
They stuck it out.
Did y'all do anything last night?
No, nothing.
Stay at the house?
Felt good to do nothing. Literally.
I don't know that I'd know.
You wouldn't know. You invent something to do if it's.
No, I don't. I just
I'm
Velcroed to something that does. And shoot, I was so looking forward to going to bed too early last night. It didn't go to bed till for me, like 10 something. That's crazy for me.
Right.
Crazy talk.
Yeah, that's crazy for you. No doubt. All right, we should be close here. About, let's see, when it hits 7, we'll do 30 seconds, and then we'll be ready to roll.
Where's Rand? Is he still at the Masters?
No, he's doing a coaching thing or something.
All right, so who's going to join you for the second?
No, we're going to do 1 hour live, and that's it. And we're going to do a replay on the second hour. Me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
All three of us. All right, here we go. 30 seconds. At least they don't talk back.
Yeah. You can be like my mama and interrupt yourself. Dad says she's the only one that interrupts herself.
Somebody's got to do it. All right, 5 seconds. What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Brett and Luke here with you for the hour here as we get started on this Saturday morning. We're glad that you joined us wherever it is that you tune us in. You can comment away here on Facebook and YouTube. We appreciate those comments. We can't take calls, obviously, here on the podcast style show this morning, but we're glad that you've joined us. We've got a ton to talk about, Luke. Normally, this time of year, there is a lot to talk about with what's going on, not only just in college, but pro and high school. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things going on. I think we could probably talk the entire hour about what's broken about the last 48 hours up in Tennessee. We've been talking about this for probably 2 years now on this show and the direction of college athletics. And I don't know that I've ever seen so many pro athletes and finally just media people in general have just had enough, man. I mean, this was like the tipping point. There's a book out there called The Tipping Point, and basically it talks about anything in society where you get to that tipping point, and when you go over that, there is no coming back from it. Well, I think we hit that a few years ago in college athletics. We just didn't know where the peak was. And I think Nico Iamaleava gave us the tipping point this week on college athletics, especially in football. It just takes one to start it, Luke. It just takes one guy to go, okay, I'm going to do this. And Clay Travis, we'll go into all the comments that people have had I know you got a lot of thoughts on it too, but I just kind of wanted to intro in on that this sport is not college anymore. And he proved that. And we've all tried to make it seem like it was the sport we've all loved for our whole lives. It's just not anymore, man.
It's definitely not. The only solace I take in this, and for those who don't know, Nico apparently, at least rumored, was getting an $8 million deal over the life of his career at Tennessee. His kid from California, a very highly touted quarterback, as you probably know. And coming into this season, he wanted to renegotiate, which sounds weird to say in college to begin with, but he apparently just wanted to renegotiate. He looked around, and look, I kind of don't blame him. Let me tell you where I'm coming. Let me get that out of the way first. In the sense that he looks around and goes, now some of these other numbers that are rumored are true. You look at JT Toppin, a basketball player at Texas Tech, is apparently getting somewhere between 3 and 4 million. Now, Nico is, in my opinion, probably worth more than JT Toppin. But it's a different sport. And, it's like sometimes the guys 4 years, 10 years, 20 years ahead of you don't make as much as you do. You sort of paved the way for this, and things have to sort of get figured out. And instead of accepting that, or look at, I've heard some things about what Auburn played Jackson Arnold even. And Nico is clearly better than Jackson Arnold and a much bigger name. But he's like, hey, why is he making as much as me? He's not even the starter for sure. I get it.
So this is what we've started, though.
But my problem is, at some point, somebody needs to look for the betterment of the sport. I've become sort of a Bill Maher fan. I watch his show on Friday nights at 9:00. And, this is a guy that used to be very heavy politically left. What left used to be. Now the left is something completely different. Just like I also think a lot of the right is completely different. And Bill Maher, who is really just dogged Trump for most of his career, he actually went last Friday and went to dinner.
We did.
With Donald Trump and Kid Rock and some Dana White and some other folks. And he came out last night and said, look, I'm not here. He said, I just want to tell you what happened. I don't want to tell you that, he was the big, here's where he was a jerk or here where he was super nice. I'm just going to tell you what happened. And eventually he just told the story of the dinner, and he said, I called him out on some things, and, he would smile. He would laugh. He said, I'd never seen Donald Trump laugh before. And he said, so it was just interesting. He said he was gracious. He said we sat down. He was nice to me. He talked to me. He didn't say, hey, I'm tired of you making. He said, I brought a list of 60 names he's called me. Bill Maher brought a list of 60 names Donald Trump has called him in public and said, I just want you to see this. And I thought it'd be kind of cool if you signed it. And he said, I did it as a joke. But he said, you know what he did? He signed it and laughed. And so, again, he said, my goal isn't here to tell you that Donald Trump is so much better than you think he is. My goal is to tell you that, hey, this is what we should all be doing, is sitting down and trying to find some common ground, understanding you're never going to see everything my way. I'm never going to see everything your way. But see, when we're negotiating, and I'm using air quotes, where from a point of we don't really know what the market is. And Nico really doesn't know what the market is. He's looking around and seeing some other folks that have done better than him, which is sort of happenstance and sort of created out of a bum rush before all these new rules take effect. And we don't even know what those are going to do, by the way. And by the way, they'll probably all be challenged in federal and different courts, and they might not work either. But Nico looked around and said, I just want more money. Okay. And Tennessee's like, we're paying you a pretty good bit. And on top of that, let's be fair, Nico, you haven't exactly been an all-star quarterback. We don't mind paying you what we've promised you. But why do we need to pay you more just because you are the starter? Not because you're good, because you're the starter and you have us over a barrel in that sense that we only have so many quarterbacks. And apparently, it's looking like Nico more and more will not be with the University of Tennessee next year. And what's worse...
And walked out of practice.
What's worse, Brett, they're already takers for him. Apparently,
Yeah, three
yeah,
of them.
this is
Three for
allegedly, and this is by some pretty powerful reporters. Who, by the way, it was
now. Dan Lanning's called
Pete
him.
Nakos
Yeah,
who
yeah,
sent out the whole. He started this
right.
whole thing the other day, and then
Then the dad got pissed. Yep.
Nico's father just called him every name in the book, and then the very next day, Nico's not at practice because of this. I mean, it's just it's horrible.
Well,
It's scary.
there's no intent. First, let me. I'm gonna jump in. We can back and forth this thing. I think it's probably going to eat up majority of this first hour. And it's going to. It's not, and it's going to carry on way beyond this because as we watch this thing play out, I said this to you to start. This is just the beginning. He took the step. This could have happened at Alabama or Auburn, and we would have been the team on the national spotlight watching how this is going to go down. It happened to be at Tennessee with Nico. And, remember coming out of high school, the $7 million, $8 million price tag, and everybody thought, man, this is crazy and all this kind of stuff. Well, he goes to Tennessee. He's the starter this past year. And we can dive into the numbers too, because the numbers aren't very good. I think out of his touchdown passes in SEC, he threw 9 touchdown passes in SEC play, and 4 of them came against Vanderbilt. All right, so and then the rest of them came against Clean Up U. Okay, so it's one thing, like you said, to demand something, and then it's another thing to hold somebody hostage, which I tweeted out yesterday. That's what he's doing here and I said, we're going to find out what Tennessee's made of. Are they going to tell him to shove it? And, and I even said this, how do you come back? And if you're a fan of Tennessee, how do you pull for this dude anymore? I mean,
you don't.
He ain't about you. He ain't about this school. And I know he's just the first example. There's a lot of them on our teams, yours and mine, Luke, that ain't about our school either. Both have already shown that. And so that's where I want to kind of go with this thing is that, here we are between portal windows, and he's negotiating from portal window 1 to portal window 2, an increase in pay. And knowing that we're in April now and it's late in the game because you're getting ready to start summer workouts and fall camps and all that kind of stuff. And you've pretty much got, okay, our guys come back this year, we're locked in, and now he's pulled the rug out from under you, and you got to figure out what you're going to do. It's bull crap, dude. It looks terrible. I can tell you what Clay Travis said and some of these other guys said about, hey, if he looked at the bigger picture, if he did what he needed to do and stay at Tennessee, okay, make $2-3 million and then be a first rounder and go sign a contract for $30 million.
Yeah.
Instead of now go to some other team for 4 months in a 4-month, try to learn how to navigate the waters with another program for 4 months, play a season, and then roll the dice and see what happens. I mean, it's just like, man, everybody's trying to snatch what they can snatch in the very moment in front of them. They're not looking big term, long term.
Well, because I think in a lot of ways we've been taught, and this generation has been taught, get yours while you can get it. Otherwise, you'll get screwed. And there used to be a generation, a lot of the greatest generation years ago, the whole line of thinking was build your way up and eventually you'll get there. Just keep doing your thing and you'll get there. But now, because of you can make so much money through doing social media things, you can make so much money being an influencer. It also, all these other things have allowed for influencers to do criminal activities on video.
Right.
And they're like, it's worth it me going to jail for X amount of time or being hated X amount of time because I'll make this much money on the front end. Right. And that's a horrible way.
We've just lost all integrity. I mean, seriously.
And again, Nico's not the first kid that's ever wanted to renegotiate a contract. That's not what it is. But I can also say he is the first one to renegotiate this publicly in college sports, if you ask me. I can't think of another example. And I also feel like what a horrible first person to do it, because if it were going to be somebody, why wouldn't it be? And I'm throwing somebody out there like Shedeur Sanders,
Right.
who was a great quarterback,
Right.
who was going to be going to be one of the top 2 or 3 picks. And I know his dad's. Let's pretend his dad's not the coach of Colorado. I think he would have some standing.
Hold your thought right there. We're going to go to our first break here on the TV side. We come back. We got a lot more to talk about. Stay tuned. More to come right after this. Michael, good to see your comment coming in from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. You up at a car show, brother? Having a good time up there. Is the weather good up there? I know it was sketchy here yesterday, but it's back to 45 degrees outside. Good God. Can this stuff just get out, please?
I want, can I have 2 weeks of about 70?
Perfect.
See, I prefer it be cold over the 102. You go outside, you open the door, and it's just like you opened a sauna. I don't like that, or the dryer door. I don't want that.
Yeah.
But I'm also, like yesterday, I mean, it was kind of cold and kind of wet. You don't even know what to wear.
I have no idea. And freeze in the morning, burn up in the afternoon. Just live out of your car. We'll keep talking about this, but I mean, it's just there's no tact at all. There's so many pro guys attacking this thing now. And look, I know you can say, well, they're attacking it because they couldn't. No, I don't really think so. I think they know the whole business now, and they understand where college fits in the scheme, and they all played college football. And they're like, well, that's not even college football anymore. Now that this can happen, college, and they even said it. I think, let's see, who was it? I think Micah Parsons said, there's a lot more discipline and rules in NFL than there is college now, because he's like, we sign contracts, we have to be beholden to those, and we have to follow. He's like, there is nothing to hold guys accountable. In college, they could just up and leave and do whatever they want to do.
And again, I think everybody got on board with the kids being paid. But Brett, right now, doesn't it kind of make sense now? Well, while we laughed and we did, shoot, it makes a lot more sense to pay people under the table, because at least then, see, you pay them and they're like,
now you don't have an open market.
Tell, and I can't tell. Now, and this is
and I still don't think anybody really knows what anybody gets paid, though. I think it all should be disclosed. I mean, if we're going to throw all these contracts and crap out there, because that's what they do in the NFL, everybody has a cap and everybody knows what's good. You don't, we hear these numbers. I haven't seen a firm number on Nico. Nobody has. We heard what it was out of high school, but that's all we ever did was hear what it was. We never had anybody send out a press release or say definitively, Tennessee is paying Nico X number of dollars over the next whatever years, with all these options in there. We don't know. It's just all speculative. So we got about 25 seconds.
And it teaches no value of commitment. And somebody can say, well, screw that. Who cares about teaching any value? We're trying to have a society here.
And it is deteriorating at a rapid pace in a lot of categories. So it's just real. And again, I'm not saying that things change and you can't have things better than they were, but all right, here we go. Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. 45 minutes left in this morning's show here in the first hour. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining us. I want to thank JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air for their long time partnership with us here on the program. Luke, back over to what we were talking about. I think what you said during the break was, we're trying to have a society over here, and you got to have rules and regulations. There's a reason we have laws in society. It doesn't mean you're not living in a free country and you don't have free will to make those decisions, but you have free will to make decisions, and you know what's right and what's wrong. Well, again, there's no rules to govern what's going on in college athletics, is what makes this so unorganized, so Wild West, whatever analysis you want to use.
Well, Brett, it's like this to me. I think Nico knows he's in he has leverage. in a sense, right? He's like, you only have one other quarterback that anybody's ever even heard of, this Merklinger. I can't remember his name, but he's supposedly okay. But all right. And Nico's like, I'm the guy. You need me more than I need you.
Right.
That's kind of true. At the same time, Tennessee has put Nico Iamaleava, again, I butcher his name every time. They have put him in a prominent place. They put his name up there with some of the best. And because he's been the quarterback at Tennessee, and because he's played in the SEC, and because he went to the playoffs, by the way, he didn't have a great game. I mean,
no, he didn't have a great game at all.
He didn't look good, but because he's been associated with Tennessee, Tennessee's helped him too. And instead of looking at it like, hey, and let's assume that he is getting the $8 million, which is what is rumored that he got to initially, and that he's getting this over the life of his time there. Instead of looking at this as, gosh, are they really getting $8 million of value? I need to do better. I need to do better for my $8 million. He's like, I need to go strike while the iron's hot. Both things can be right, but it doesn't mean right, meaning correct. It doesn't mean both are right morally. And I think we need to add some of that back in. And it's sort of like this. If you live in a very small community and there's one small grocery store, and that grocery store decided, hey, everybody needs milk. And yeah, I can get, my milk costs me a little tiny bit more than like at Publix, in Birmingham, 3 hours away. But I'm just going to charge everybody $62 for a gallon of milk. And who's going to stop me? Well, we have rules to not do stuff like that. Because yes, I guess technically in a free marketplace, you could do that. But morally, it is reprehensible because we need to keep things in check to a degree, even though we have, we're the freest country in the world. And we are the best country in the world, in my opinion. But even we need to have rules to cap some of these things. So you can't just run over folks all the time. Now, somebody may say, well, the colleges ran over the players for years and years. Maybe so. At the same time, it wasn't every college, number one, because not every college turns a big profit. And number two, it also took a lot of hard work for the colleges to become so popular that they were making obscene amounts of money. And then something should have changed, probably by the NCAA, who was a terrible organization.
Right.
And now here we are. I get it, but it's not time. Again, like Bill Maher said last night, every time somebody, and I'm not trying to get political, this is his words. He said, every time somebody on the left says that no matter what you say, you can't be deported. Even if you support a terrorist organization and you have a green card, you can't be deported, or men should play in women's sports. Every time you say something like that, when the right gets in charge, they're going to swing the pendulum back 2 times the other way. And that's going to make it worse. He said, we need to find the middle. And and this is the sort of the same thing. If Nico wanted to go to Tennessee, I don't even see Nico's argument at all, except that he is the starter. He's not good enough to do this. He's only getting the leverage because he's the starter, and I find that pretty reprehensible.
That's it. That really is it.
Was he in the first or second or third team player last year, Brett?
No, he wasn't.
All SEC, I'm talking.
Right. I mean, here's the deal. Okay, and pretty much I just read now where it's saying that he is gone, almost 100%, and he will probably enter the portal.
How could he come back
next week? You can't. That's what I said to you at the very beginning of the show. If you did come back, what is the relationship at that point? What are the fans saying? I mean, if I'm a fan, I've moved on at that point. I want to go back to the comment you made about the colleges. All right, yes. The college gave the person an opportunity to come and get, hold your breath, an education, which nobody tends to think even is worth talking about anymore. But to allow them to, because you got to remember, back in the day, how far ever back you want to go, all the pro sports and stuff were there, but they weren't to the level they are now. And technology helped change the structure of sports. And the money and all that kind of stuff came as we evolved with all that stuff, right? All right, so you can't compare what happened in the 50s and 60s to what's happening in 2025 because it's apples to oranges. So the opportunities just weren't there. All right, so the opportunity to go play in college was an honor, a privilege, because you probably were getting your whole cost paid for to live, to play, to go to school, and you were going to be able to play a sport that you loved. And then when you graduated, if you were one of these super elites, you were able to go and play NFL, MLB, whatever, get drafted, whatever the process was. But the 98% of the others had a good degree now, and they could go get a job where they could make a living and have a nice family and do those kind of things. Yes, it's not the 1950s and 60s anymore. I agree with that. But now you can't just all of a sudden say, well, it's a money war and the schools don't matter anymore, because the schools do matter. Technically, without the schools, these guys don't have a platform to even ask for any of this stuff. And the schools are their own worst enemies, because now they're competing against each other. They're stealing a player from this school. Well, then I'm going to go steal a player from this school. It's all about the back and forth. Like last night, they had a pitcher for Tennessee that played at Ole Miss last year, and he struck out 14 batters. And, he was on Ole Miss's team last year, and then he comes back this year. He's for Tennessee, and he goes and wins the game, and he's talking a bunch of smack and all this kind of stuff against Ole Miss. Last night, Sam Dutton pitched for Auburn. He played at LSU last year, and Sam Dutton got the win last night, pitched 7 really good innings and was fired up. Chris Stanfield played center field for LSU, one of the better hitters in the league, played for Auburn last year. It's like it's just pro sports, man. There's no loyalty. The guy you love and you're pulling for, like it'd be like Bobby Humphrey going to Auburn and Bo Jackson going to Alabama. And it's like they played 2 years at each school, and they go, well, let's just swap. And I want to go play at Auburn now, and you go play at Alabama, and we'll see how the sport me and you love's dead, man. It's just dead. I hate to be that way. It's dead.
I agree. And look, I'm not going to say a name because I don't know exact figures, and I don't want to get in trouble or anything, but I do know a player that transferred from one particular school to another school in the same conference recently. And the player had worked out a deal to stay at his school, and then the other school came calling, and the other school offered X, and he went back to his first school, and they said, okay, we'll match that. Then the other school called back with another, and he said, okay, I agreed to it. I'll stay. So that's 2 agreements. Then the other school called again and said, we'll take it to this now. And he went back to his first school, and the first school said, not doing that. And so
somebody's got to stand up at some point in time.
I look at it and I'm thinking, I like that guy a lot.
Yeah.
But he's not worth that. Now, his mama will say there ain't nothing he ain't worth. I get it.
Right.
But it's not.
But his mama ain't controlling the purse strings. Let's take another break for TV. I'll let you finish the story when we come back. Stay tuned. More to come here on the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this. But you're right, dude. You're right. Hey, I can tell, I'm not going to name names either, but I was in a recent situation where I was having to negotiate and make a deal. This was a couple of years ago. And, I made an agreement with this person, and the group made an agreement. We said, we're going to do this for you if you want this job, if you want to do this. And I made it very clear on the front side, I'm not getting in a bidding war. You're not going to go back to X other group and say, well, this is what they offered. Now, what are you going to do? And then they come back with a response. And then he comes back and goes, well, they've countered. Now, are you willing to up? I said, here's what we're offering, period. If you want to do this, then here it is, and accept it, or don't do anything at all, because I'm not going to come back with a counter from somebody. And I made it very clear, and an X person gave me their word that once we ever reached a level, he would not go back, and it didn't matter what they offered him on the other side. He had already made a commitment, and he was going to make that decision and move forward with it. He wasn't going to pit one group against the other. Now, did he have the power to do that? Yeah, he could have. Did I make it very clear up front? that it wasn't going to go down that way? I did. So at some point in time, some party has to take a stand and go, you know what, man, you may be worth it and you may feel like you are, but this is what we're going to offer. And if you don't want to be here with that offer, then move on. That's just how somebody's got to step up, man.
And again, I understand where some other people are coming from. Like, well, when you got the leverage, you got to use it, and that's a business principle, and da 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 da.
Yeah, but to a certain degree, you can
do
this. You can do this for infinity as long as two parties that you're pitting against each other are willing to keep playing tennis and hitting the ball back on the other side of the net. I mean, you can literally do that forever. There is and there's another situation. I'm not going to go into detail about this one that I just recently went through. And you got to decide if you want to be with this group or this group. And do you want to grow this group or do you want to go over here with this other group and try to do something different? And if you are talented, you could do that all the time. You could do it week to week, Luke.
You have options.
You always have options. So, I mean, at some point in time, you got to have a little bit of pride in yourself. Go, okay, I'm comfortable. I've got good money. My situation's really good. I need to just concentrate on being better, and getting better. And then at the end of the year, if we want to come back to the table and talk about it, let's do it. But I'm not going to hold you hostage in the middle of the season.
Not only that, I mean, again, without naming names,
10 seconds. Hold it right there so you can say something about it when we come back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air, proud partners here on the Saturday Sports Countdown. Luke, you were finishing up what you were saying about the, example of not naming a name, but this is what this person did, whatever.
Well, my point is, eventually, I think Team One ended up with a player that may actually have a higher ceiling than the player they lost. And I guess player two comes out great because he's probably overpaid for and does more money. But you wonder, again, this is something that you would hope would factor in to some NBA negotiations. Eventually somebody go, wait a minute, are you just going to leave us at the drop of a hat?
Right.
And again, some players may say, hey, the teams abandon players all the time. Okay, but I think that's been curbed as well. And Brad, we know some circumstances just being together these many years, going back to Nico. Once you have somebody that you feel like has disrespected your business, your organization, your team, and even if they didn't necessarily out and out disrespect it in the press verbally by saying nasty words, they just did it with their actions or they said something to somebody else. You can't have that person be a part of your team anymore. I don't care how good they are. It will infiltrate.
It's a cancer. It's a cancer.
Yeah. And if you don't remove the cancer, eventually it will kill you. And whether it's a team, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a partnership, whether it's a corporation, whatever it is. And that's why I think there is no way to go back with Nico. I just don't think I don't see a path back. If I were a player, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't trust him any further I could throw it.
I wouldn't either.
And even if I trusted him, I wouldn't trust the people around him. And he is obviously very susceptible to their beliefs, to their ambitions, to their whims. So, yeah, I would have a hard time being a teammate of his.
Like I told you earlier, I just also read that a longtime Tennessee sports writer, I think his name's Jimmy Himes, associated with 92.5 FM up in Knoxville, pretty much said he's done. He's going in the transfer portal. And
but what's bad, Brett, about that? He has suitors apparently already.
Well, that's right.
Oregon, Colorado, and Ohio State are the ones that have been thrown out.
But didn't Dan Lanning come out and call his dad out for basically shopping his kid? He's been doing it like even before now, like trying to get in. Like I read something last night. Again, you start reading all this stuff, and and everything that's going on, and you got to decipher what's rumor and what's true and all that. It's hard to do nowadays. But somebody, I think a pretty prominent sports writer I was reading, was applauding Dan Lanning for pretty much coming out and saying, "Look, this guy's been doing this for this ain't he didn't start doing this week. He's been doing." And I think Pete Nakos, like you said, is the one that broke it, and his dad attacked him, and all the sports writers are like, "Hey, I got one for you. He was right." And now you're the one that looks like what we all thought you were. And so that now you started to, yeah, that relationship is totally burnt. That you cannot come back from this. And even if he wanted to now, and I think if Tennessee wanted to keep him, I mean, he just didn't show up to practice, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to keep practicing and we'll figure this thing out. Either I'll leave after spring or not." This guy just said, "No, man, I ain't showing up today. I ain't coming because I ain't get what I wanted. And I don't like the way this is going." And it may not have been the kid, Luke. I'm going to say this, but the kid's represented by his dad, and his dad may have said, "Son, don't go to practice today. Don't go to practice." And he may have been like, "Man, I got to go to practice. I need to." And his dad's like, do not go to practice." And so I don't know. I'm just speculating at this point, but I'm pretty sure it probably worked out something like that.
I mean, it saddens me. You would think as a rival of Alabama's that I would be getting a kick out of this. It does sadden me. I mean, because it could have very easily been either one of us.
That's what you and I said to start the show. This could have been, either one of our teams, whoever player saying, and it just happens to be the quarterback's the most high-profile guy. What if Deuce Knight had played last year, and this is Deuce Knight's second? What if Deuce Knight do it next year? What if Deuce has a great year this year?
What if Deuce went to spring practice, Brett, and said, "Jackson Arnold ain't as good as I thought he was. They need me."
Exactly.
I mean, 1 week.
What's to prevent him from doing that right now?
I'm not throwing him under the bus. We just picked.
No, we're just using an analysis. That's right.
And
look, Keelan Crawford. What if
Russell.
What if Keelan Russell decides to do the same thing at Alabama? And they go, "Well, Ty Simpson's had his shot. He's been up here for 2 years. And then I get here and I'm clearly better. So why can't I demand a bunch of money?"
And we've not only that, I think we've already all thought about it. I mean, I'll start with Alabama. My first thought was, if Nico is worth $4 million a year, now he's a quarterback, what's Ryan Williams worth? What's Jeremiah Smith worth at Ohio State?
What's Cam Coleman worth? What's Cam Coleman worth?
Well, exactly. And if I'm Cam, in a way, if you're Cam Coleman, you may even have more leverage to be like, "Y'all are paying me this much, but y'all ain't even seen my best yet." So I think when I get there, if y'all want to see me get there, y'all need to pay me a little more, because you already paid me X for this. But if you want to see me go to my ceiling, it's going to be this.
And don't think all of these players, again, we're not taking shots. We're just randomly picking names. But don't think all of these players around the country on all these different teams aren't watching how this is going down right now. And they're weighing whether they want to take that step and be hammered in the press or by fans and say, "I don't really care," or are they going to say, I need to be, I need to do the honorable thing and ride this out, and then let's renegotiate at the end of the year, and figure it out, which again, I'm fine with, because that's the market we're in now. And I think year to year with the way the structure is fine. But this portal window, 2 portal windows from December to then the spring one opens up after spring practice. See, again, I just think that's a horrific thing for coaches and organizations, because now you got kids that went through spring and they go, "Well, I tell you what, and you've been preparing and locking all this stuff in." That's why Hugh Freeze came out and said, "We need to move this thing to June, put us in pads for 2 weeks in the first part of June, because you got guys coming out of fall that are still nursing injuries. They can't go through spring. So you're not even getting any work for them. Like Auburn's got 3 offensive linemen that are going to start this year that aren't even going through spring drills because they're trying to nurse injuries and try to get back to full strength. So everything's changed about the way we do things in college athletics. So why not just change all this too? So let's take a break, come back. We'll keep talking about it, Luke, on the stream as well, and we'll come back, catch it up on TV. Stay tuned. More to come right after this.
And before we cry a river for Tennessee, let's assume Nico goes in the portal. What do you think Tennessee's going to do? They're going to go look for a quarterback too, right? And guess what they got to do? They got to raid somebody. So Tennessee's going to probably have to overpay to get somebody, and whoever they go after is going to know I got the leverage here, and Tennessee's probably going to pay that and screw some other school. So what I'm saying is, it's like, yeah, we can all feel bad for Tennessee for right now because it is happening to them, but then because we as fans demand, we don't want to hear your excuses. We just want to see your wins.
Right.
Tennessee's going to have to go get somebody that they think can help them win. And then in the end, let's say they don't get somebody good enough, and let's say they fire their Josh Heupel, their head coach. Well, he's going to walk away with an X amount of million buyout. The players are all still getting rich, and the only people that are screwed are their fans because they invest a ton of money. They put a lot of money into their NIL collectives, into buying their merchandise, into going to their games, and they sacrifice their time. And they're going to be like, oh, my God. And, again, it's going to lead to the deterioration of the sport. I mean, right now we can all say, hey, we're tired of it, but we're obviously not because we keep doing this. And I don't want to be. I'm clinging. I don't want to be tired of it. And, Brett, from our perspective, we just got into some things that finally it seems like all these shows, people don't understand. It's not like we've been putting through silk because of all this sports blitz money.
Right.
Now things are making some money.
Right.
But it's like a lot of y'all don't understand all the Saturdays we do stuff for nothing.
And that's
and again, you might say, well, your production value wasn't good. Okay, we didn't have the money to do it. We were doing the best we could.
That's exactly right. And doing it on the side.
Yeah.
We all had 14 other things that we were doing and still doing. I mean, it ain't like we just wake up and do this all day, every day, although I feel like I do that now. I feel like I never get out from in front of this computer. I mean, and it's part of it. And I understand it. And I understand what it takes. You do too now to continue to provide content that people want to see and hear. And, you can't just choose, I'm going to go on, in a couple of days and give everybody an update. You can't do that. And, and I'm in Auburn every single day now, and I'm doing things there that I've never done before, all the way back to when I was a student worker down there. So, but that's what it takes. You can either choose to do it or do something else. And so that's why our channel's growing. It's why your channel's growing, Luke. And, it's the reason people, and I'm not saying that they always agree with us on everything. That's not what it's about. It's about what we're doing as far as the content and the things that we're trying to push out to make our products better so people will want to watch. And it takes a lot of work. And I know a lot of people out there, it's like talking to my buddy that's a bass fisherman. He's fishing professionally, been doing it for 20 years. It ain't all fun and games. I can tell you that. It ain't, let's just go hang out and have a nice relaxing.
Worm on a hook.
Exactly. All right, here we go. Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. A couple segments left here in the show this morning. Then we're only doing 1 hour this morning, and then we go to a replay on the second hour. So just kind of giving everybody a heads up there. Because we got a lot of stuff going on. I got to get to Auburn. Luke's got, another All-Star Little League Super Bowl.
I got a girls' soccer game. And they can't even make this stuff easy. I'm in Mountain Brook. Guess where the game is? Chelsea. Let me tell you, I drive from Mountain Brook to Elliott City every day. The worst part of the drive is driving from Mountain Brook to Chelsea. The rest of it is smooth sailing. A couple of traffic lights, sleepy little towns. But Birmingham's no joke anymore. They just put a traffic light in front of everything.
I'm telling you, the stretch from Chelsea through Birmingham to over the mountain is maybe one of the most god awful stretches of highway in the entire country.
And Brett, I went to
You
Indian
stop
Springs.
every 2 seconds.
I went to
man.
Indian Springs when there was nothing on Highway 119. There was nothing between Ellick City and Highway 119. That's when the thing started, right?
Right.
And I could get to one. I always used to think when I was younger, like, this is awesome. I don't have to worry about a thing. Chelsea's never going to grow. Well, now Chelsea's a 7A school, might be an 8A school. They're the only one in all 8A. And they've gotten huge, and they're building stuff. Every day I pass through, I'm like, they're putting that up? I was like, this is great for the people of Chelsea. This is going to kill old Luke.
I wish we'd have had a traffic light company, because you could have made $1 billion just off that one stretch. I mean, there's enough traffic lights there. New York City can't have as many traffic lights.
And the only lights they have on here is red. They got red, light red, and pink.
And like, you'll pull up to an intersection, any one of the 420 in Inverness, and everybody's red. Ain't nobody moving.
Well,
these two ways they're red. This way. The turn lane's red, and the light's like. I just want everybody to be red.
And it's all manufactured, so you stop, so you have to go shopping or go get something to eat. And I'm like, yeah, I got to go get something to eat. I've been in this traffic for 8.5 hours. I got to have something.
Hey, I'm trying to get to work. I left this morning. It's already lunchtime. I'm not even there. It's brutal, dude. It really is brutal. But I don't even know how we got down that road. What? Oh, we were talking about
we got stopped.
We got stopped. We never got to it. Yeah, you're going to coaching. You better get started now. When's the game? Like at 3:00 this afternoon?
Yeah.
To get to that point. But anyway, a couple more segments left here. I know we've talked the Nico thing to death. We'll obviously be talking a lot more about that this coming up week, because this story's still developing, and we'll see how it all plays out. Luke, I'll let you give a quick update on Alabama right now, and then when we come back in the last segment, I'll give an update. I was at practice 3 times in the last week and a half for Auburn, so I'll kind of give my take on that. So I'll let you go first.
Alabama will have 8A today. I frankly, I haven't even looked into like what the setup is going to be. It's not going to be your traditional 8A, as most of y'all know, and therefore I'm just not quite as super interested. I don't mind going to a practice. And I wouldn't mind going to see a scrimmage. At the same time, I don't want to do like a Lane Kiffin last year hot dog eating contest and a dunk contest and all that. That just doesn't do anything for me. And I don't think Kalen DeBoer is in for that either. He realizes you have 15 practices in the spring. You better use them all. And that's why I think a lot of teams aren't going to do a scrimmage. They're like, the scrimmage is sort of a wasted day, because you can't. I mean, yes, you want it. It used to be everybody's going to go full bore and you didn't worry about injuries. Well, now everybody's worried to death about injuries. You don't eat. Ryan Williams probably won't even participate today, I bet. And again, part of me is okay with. Part of me thinks if you're not injured, you should play through it, and because that's old school. But part of me also goes, well, this gives us a chance to look at Rico Scott and Jalen Hill as he recovers, and Derek Meadows and Latsier Brooks, the guys that come in as freshmen. Because we know what Ryan Williams can do. So I'm part of like, But I think, and Jimmy and I have talked about this all week on Locked On Bama, that we don't suspect there'll be more than 20,000 people at either 8A. We just don't see it.
No,
now, there could be, but I don't see it. I mean, it's 8A. It's going up against the Masters, which you say that not mean anything. It's going to mean something to some people. And since there is no traditional scrimmage, it's sort of like, what am I really going to watch? There's some people who love to watch practice. I could watch practice. There's some people who are like, why do I want to go there and see somebody tackling a dummy? I don't. And I think it's sort of the death of spring games as we know it, which is also sad. And
here we go. Just another great memo coming out about college sports.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Right. It keeps, these things keep coming at us that are kind of negative. Now, ironically, viewership's way up. There was a lot of interest in the college football playoff, a lot of interest in the NCAA tournament. And I think it could have been more interest in the college football playoff if you had put some better teams in there and not reward teams that don't play anybody. But because I think it played out in the NCAA tournament where, hey, we like seeing the better teams play. We don't really want to see Illinois State A&M. I mean, we like to say we do, but we don't.
We like them in the first. We like them in the first round when they knock somebody off they're not supposed to. But as they progress through the tournament, we're like, okay, it's time for you to go.
when the Oscars come out and you've got Titanic and Forrest Gump and Full Metal Jacket. I know I'm jumping.
I know, but you're, yeah, right.
But I'm saying, and then we also have this indie film from Italy called, the little bakery that could, or what a terrible name. But and they're like, what if that one won the Oscar? Everybody be like, okay, but I didn't see that. Nobody saw that. The guy who was in it didn't see it. How do we know that's the best film?
That's a good analysis. There's no question about it. Okay, let's take a break here. We come back, we'll wrap up the first hour, and Luke and I will jump off. It will be a replay in hour number 2 from earlier this week, which is still good. So Andy and I were on a whole different set of topics, and because we've eaten up pretty much an hour on this one topic. We'll come back. I'll give analysis, a little breakdown of Auburn spring football A-Day as well. I'll be there. I'll give a report from that. I guess I'll tell everybody how well we tackle a dummy from A-Day. So, all right, stay tuned. More to come right after this.
Pat Forty posted something that like, remember last year when all the Tennessee people were like, free Nico, like, let him do more. And everybody's like,
lock him
that some bitch right to the curb. I mean, be careful what you wish for.
No kidding, man. No kidding.
This really is like, did you ever see any of the Wishmaster movies? They're god awful. But do you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
They're god awful, but
terrible.
I couldn't help but watch them because they're so bad that I think they do make you think a little bit about the be careful what you wish for. Like, if you were a djinn, if you were an evil genie, and somebody was like, I wish I were the richest man on earth. Well, you are probably thinking, oh, that just means I'm surrounded by money and gold and whatever. Well, his interpretation may be, all right, I'm going to turn you into Elon Musk or something. And then you're trapped in Elon Musk's body.
Right.
What I'm saying?
Right.
And it's sort of like college football has that, like all the college football powers got together and said, we want to have the biggest sport on earth. Okay, well, a lot of problems come with that, that you don't even think about.
That you don't even think about. You're right. I mean, we all think about it, I guess, superficially and on an elementary level. And you're like, no, if I'm going to give it to you, I'm going to give you all of it. I'm going to give you everything that goes with it, not just the good stuff.
And, it's hard to qualify a wish with like, all right. In the Wishmaster, again, the movie's so dumb.
Now you just get to the point where you're scared to make a wish because you're afraid you're going to get sued.
Well, the Wishmaster, is like, I can grant you anything. And the guy goes, you're not a genie. He said, all right, I want $1 million. He said, done. And the guy looked at his phone or something. He had $1 million. But the only reason he had $1 million is because the guy's mom simultaneously was boarding a plane and signed some kind of insurance thing for like a life insurance for $1 million and the plane blew up. So I mean, it's sort of like, in his eyes,
I didn't tell you how I was going to give it to you.
Joke's on you. I didn't even like my mama. I knocked out 2 birds with 1 stone. Is what he's probably thinking.
Oh my God.
So dumb. I mean,
it is.
Did you ever see Wishmaster 2?
I don't think I saw that one. I did see the first one though.
Well, Wishmaster 2 has some of the worst.
Hey, it was so bad. Got to come back for more. Wishmaster.
I wish y'all wouldn't show me another of these dang movies. I can tell you that.
I mean, and how appropriate. I know it's funny a little bit, or not maybe funny for Tennessee fans, but his last name. I know it's Imialiava, but it's like no, I'm gone. I'm leaving this sun gun. So.
It is just comical.
It is, man. I mean, you just don't know what's going to fall next. I mean, that's
and because everybody thinks all these schools they do have some money, but nobody's budget's unlimited. If they give Nico $4 million, Nico might be dead because he'll be sacked a gazillion times because the next person to hold out will be your left tackle.
Welcome back to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Final segment here, a little bit shorter as we go to the top of the hour break, and then we will have replay from earlier this week as Luke and I will step aside here after this first hour. Yeah, you're right, though. I mean, you just brought up a point. When does that start to permeate the team at that point? And it's like, okay, this dude back here negotiating and getting all this stuff, and everybody's just bending over backwards for him. And here I am up here busting my rear end, protecting this prick. And, I'm about tired of it. And, we say that tongue in cheek all the time. We've said it a bunch on here before. And we're like, no, that ain't going to happen. Like, the heck it won't. And especially if the guy's in the locker room and he's a jerk.
Did you ever see Wildcats?
Absolutely.
With Goldie Hawn?
Yes.
That guy was he said, if you just pay me, I'll just let anybody come in there and say. And if you don't pay me, I'll just move out the way.
That's it.
I mean, it was a Nico Iamaleava should have been in Wildcats and Wishmaster, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, just a combination. Maybe he was. All right, so Auburn, A-Day today. I'll go down and I'm going to give a little bit of a report after we have the window there. Things can be like an hour and 30 minutes. What the fans need to expect, they're going to do like a red zone lockout period at the very end. Defense versus offense, first team to 18 wins, and the points will be like, if the offense scores, obviously it'll be 7. If the defense holds the offense to a field goal and they make the field goal, offense will get 3 points, the defense will get 4 points. So, you hold out based on what you do, and it's a different scoring thing. But then they'll do like a overtime period after that where they work on some overtime drills and stuff. But for the most part, it'll be like skeleton drills, individual stuff, and then there's going to be an autograph session at 1:30 after everything's over on the field. So, yeah, not traditional, like you said, with Alabama either. Just real quick, about 3 minutes before we get out, watched the quarterbacks this week. I thought, both look good. I really thought Deuce Knight is ahead of where, and I know people go, where should he be at this point? Well, he's a freshman. He should still be in high school, and to do what he's doing out there right now, he's very impressive. His arm strength's tremendous. I thought he made some really good throws the other day. Malcolm looks really good for all you local people. I think Malcolm caught a couple touchdown passes in the practice. This wide receiving core is one of the deepest I think I've ever seen at Auburn ever with the talent. So, offensive line's hard to get a good look right now. Connor Liu's out, too tall. A lot of those guys are nursing some things that they're trying to get back to 100%. So when fall camp starts, they're ready to go. Keldrick Falk hasn't really gone through many drills as well. So, but you've seen some new guys like Sam Turner. I thought Anquan New Boy Fagans has really shown out. You and I've known that for a long time, Luke, what kind of player he is, and his football IQ is tremendous.
Let me ask one recruiting question, because I did not know this, and I saw it written somewhere. Has Cedarian Morgan said an announcement date of July 2nd?
Correct. Yeah, he actually said that on our video.
Oh,
he actually broke that on the interview with Faith.
Okay.
Well, I think he had already told some people, and it was out there. But when Faith interviewed him a few weeks ago, she asked him about that, and he said July 2nd will be his.
Why July 2nd?
I don't know. I mean, I guess he made a decision. That's when he wanted to do it.
So I wonder if it was somebody's birthday or.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. So, but yeah, Cedarian Morgan will be announcing then, and so yeah, there's a lot going on. Luke, Luke, you'll give an update next week on Alabama, and I'll give one today after the scrimmage, A-Day, whatever you want to call it, is over. So it's going to be again maybe the last time we ever see these. You got to think about that. I mean,
the last time we ever see football.
Maybe it all may just go away. It all may explode. Whoever's in Wishmaster may decide to do away with it. All right, that's going to wrap it up for Saturday Sports Countdown. On the TV side, we'll hang loose for about another minute or two on the stream as we go off. But we appreciate everybody that watches and listens every single Saturday. Hour number 2 will be coming up right after this. All right, for everybody on the stream. So, yeah, we're about to head on out as well. So,
Yeah, I got to go do some
yeah,
more.
you got to
You know
go.
how much I love soccer.
Yeah, you got a 4-hour drive ahead of you. You ain't got but 10 miles to go.
I ain't got any time.
I can get to the beach faster than you can get to Chelsea.
Hey,
All right, buddy. Have a good day, okay?
see you, bud.
Good
Bye.
to see you, brother.